Hello Pisces, welcome to your March 2026 reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This reading can be used for your sun, rising, and moon sign. I know you all like to see Apollo when we begin. He's resting, so we're going to let him be, and we're going to jump straight into channeled messages. As I tuned into your sign today, what came through was the image of a classroom, like a pop quiz, and a feeling that there was something unfair about what was being presented to you. So you might find yourself this month in a position where it's kind of like the other person isn't playing by the rules. And when that happens, sometimes you have to change the rules yourself too. And this is a moment in time where what I saw that was important was to speak up collectively. And I thought back to like an old experience I had in grad school where one of the teachers wasn't qualified. So all the students went and talked to the dean, and actually the dean ended up coming in and teaching the class. And it was an example of collective, cooperative communication making a difference. Because when one or two of us spoke out, it wasn't enough. But when like 20 of us spoke up, changes started to happen. So if you find yourself in a situation where, you're not happy with what's going on because something just doesn't pass the smell test, something's wrong, talk to some other people, see if it's a collective experience. If it's more of something where it's like cultural clash and you're just not meshing with the other people, it might be time to move into something different. But if enough people feel the same way, collectively you can make a difference. So that's one message, is the power of many can change and affect something that isn't right. The other thing was the energy of a pop quiz or a test. So you may have someone come in and ask you some questions, but I still feel like maybe they haven't done their homework or they were pointed questions. You have it within your rights to say, I have no problem answering questions, but where did this come from? And why are you asking that particular question? Because if the question isn't appropriate or pertinent, you don't have to answer. You can also, again, just ask them some questions too. It's a two-way street. So what I really see, the first thing coming through is just about like making sure that the playing field is even, that everyone's operating from the same rule book, and that if anything doesn't feel right or sound right, that you speak up. Now, the other thing that I saw, which heartens me, is I keep seeing like a gold star. So whatever challenge is in front of you, you have the capacity to ace the test, to be okay. And then I also feel like there's an opportunity to step into the spotlight. And sometimes the voice of reason that raises their hand, in a meeting or in a class or in a family situation, often then becomes a person that people look up to. Sometimes we're afraid to be the one that speaks up, but your voice matters this month, Pisces. So choose your moments well. And when you speak up and when you have something to say, not only can you make a difference, but you might also attract new opportunities in your life. People will look up to you, and this could open up some new things for you. All right, why don't we get started on the reading? I'm changing things up a little bit this month and organizing this so it's a little bit more compressed, which means that you'll get them faster and they're easier to watch. I hope you enjoy the change in format. Let's close our eyes for a moment. Please imagine that there is a circle of light around your body, connecting you and protecting you at the same time. Please welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters as well. All right, let's kick things off with the Catalyst card here. We have the God coming through, which reminds you of your connection to divinity. So one thing here is don't underestimate your power and your connection to source. I would take that a step further and basically say you are the source of your inspiration, the source of your health, your well-being, your abundance. You tap into source, but you're the one that's actually supplying it in the 3D, in the here and the now. So don't ever sell yourself short when it comes to an exchange. Make sure that you're getting what you put out into the world and negotiate accordingly. And when you have those moments of self-doubt and you wonder, can I do it? This card, just like Emperor or Empress energy, is coming through and saying, not only can you, but you will, provided that you continue to believe in yourself. Of course, we can connect this to spirit and faith. Now is a great time to really lean into the energy of manifestation. And open yourself up for miracles and surprises. Sometimes we are too quick to think this is all there is. But the universe has a way of sometimes showing us twists and turns in the road. So be open for miracles and surprises. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the spread itself. We'll start off with your center card, the reversed Eight of Wands. And I love this particular illustration because it shows a hearth fire. It even says that. And the Eight of Wands is normally just all of the wands going through the air. But here we see people with their bows and arrows, celebrating, gathering, connecting. Remember I said the power of the group would come into play. So teamwork, whether that's in a sporting event, a school event, work, your friends, your family. We all have groups of people around us. And now is a time to find that community and basically activate it to make the changes that you need in your life and to help everybody sort of get what they need. So collective goals, collective communication, and just collaboration in general. The Eight of Wands also represents, as we see there with the fire, the ability for something to take flight. I'll pull the traditional card while we're talking. So from a business perspective, if you wanted to launch a product or service, it's a perfect time to do so. From a personal perspective, if there's something in your life that you want to set into motion, maybe it's healthier habits, whether it's eating and exercise or something of that nature, it can go the distance. That's basically what the Eight of Wands shows us. And once you set it into motion, the momentum carries you through. It's oftentimes just taking the first step. Nerves can get in the way, procrastination, whatever it is. This is not a time to let that block you from what otherwise looks like a lot of progress and a lot of opportunity that's knocking at the door. And again, never underestimate the power of the people in your life as well. They may be able to help you unlock potential or get, a door or opportunity presented to you. Slow down long enough to connect with people because, again, very rare is this sort of illustration where we actually see the people behind the wands. So say thank you, I love you, I appreciate you to all the people that represent Eight of Wands moments in your life. And that's a great way to start this month off. All right, let's see what's crossing this card. All right, we have the Queen of Swords, one of my favorite queens because she's about action, communication, and basically talking the talk and walking the walk. So you really do want to make sure it's a combination of the two things. Keep your promises, lead by example, and then people are more apt to listen to you as the Queen of Swords. There is a grace and a dignity with the swan that they chose to have, showing this sort of Queen of Swords energy. So when you communicate, even if it's something that's constructive or critical, maybe find a way to do so with grace, with empathy, and with elegance, because it's not just the words, it's the tone and the time. So as long as you're choosing that tone and that time correctly, that's going to be great. You may also find, like I said, the power of multiple people speaking out at once could be advantageous. You might just be the first one to raise your hand or to get people excited. The throat. This is a time to really focus on breathing. And for some of you, this could even be a place where there's some challenges. If you've had difficulty in the past in speaking your truth, sometimes the throat closes down and you just have to breathe and practice. Your voice matters, your actions matter, so make sure that both of them are connecting up this month. As we take a look here at the deep past, we have, for some of you, an overdue rest, or maybe you just put something to rest here, the Four of Swords. And if we take a look at the traditional illustration, you see a sepulcher, and beneath the sepulcher is a future ace. It's one of the four swords. And it reminds us that when we finally give ourselves a chance to take a deep breath and recharge, that's the moment when new ideas come through, when we are able to face our biggest challenge with a clear mind, a clear energy system, and we can just kind of go for it. But if you deplete yourself, if you work yourself to exhaustion, it's a lot harder for that to come through. And we see the butterfly in the foreground here showing that change is happening, but sometimes you just have to Gently let things go, and one day you'll just wake up and notice the change. Subtle movements, subtle changes, and for many of you, it feels like you're finally ready to close a chapter on an old way of living or thinking or an old relationship. Something is coming to pass, and the best is yet to come when it comes to this. Just make sure you're getting rest and you're not working yourself to the point of complete and utter exhaustion. There are areas in your life where diminishing returns will happen. Okay, in the recent past, you've done some of the work, but there's disbelief. The shaman is also known as the magician in a traditional deck, and when the card is reversed, like it was today, it can represent someone who doesn't trust their instincts. So if you don't feel good about something, or like I said, if you stepped into a situation and legitimately you're looking at it and thinking something isn't right, do the research. Don't make assumptions, but do the research. Find out if that inclination is correct, and then take action on it. Always lean into your intuitive downloads. They don't lead you astray. The other thing here is hope and focus. So the magician, if it believes in itself, if it stays, tried and true and hopeful to what it is that is in front of it, the magic flows through them. Same thing with the shaman. You can change, you can manifest, you can mold what's in front of you, but you have to believe, you have to have faith, you have to stay hopeful. Things can get distracting. Even in this illustration, we see a lot going on in the foreground. Typically, there's 4 different elements, 4 different tools. The magician has to be discerning and use the right tool at the right time. So if there's too many distractions, take a step back, tune in, and pick the one thing that feels good to you to focus on, because trying to do it all sometimes is just a recipe for exhaustion. Finally, this can represent persuasion. As a positive aspect of you, you have the ability to persuade someone to do something that they normally wouldn't do. So if you have a difficult conversation that you need to have, odds are you're going to be all right. Someone around you may also be trying to get you to do something that doesn't feel right. This is when you have to trust your instincts, because you're not going to be manipulated. And that's basically what this card is reminding you. Stay true to yourself. Call out anything that doesn't sound right. And if you need help in that sort of situation, the power in numbers message came through at the center. Now let's take a look at your crowning card, which is the 2 of Wands. The card came through in the reverse position, and based on the caption here, some of you might be trying to jump into a decision without being fully informed or ready. And if we look at the traditional card, you can see that he is actually gazing at that globe or that sort of map in front of him and trying to figure out, how far have I come? Where might I go next? And also, what else do I want to do? There is a daydreaming energy that's comprised within the 2 of Wands that got skipped a little bit in this one. So this is the dreaming, and then this is the doing. Don't skip to the doing without tuning in, without planning a little bit. Also, that globe represents looking at things and mapping out an itinerary. I'm going to go here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to catch this plane and then this train. So there is the sort of planning and logistical part of the traditional 2 of Wands that we can't skip over. Once you get there, then yes, you can go into this and say, I am ready. Also, this is showing what could be a pressure point for some of you, because if you say you want to do something, but you say it more as a question, or even legitimately put it like, well, what if we tried this? So saying, what if we tried this, is not as effective as, I've given this a lot of thought. I found something that I think will be perfect for this situation. Are you interested? That's so much more powerful. Take the are you interested part out and just say, I have something that I think you really are going to like. Let's talk. So keep hyping it up so that you're at the point where it's just like, this is what I want to do. And then you're going to be able to breathe life into it and bring it forward. If it's still in the question phase, you haven't quite wrapped your head fully around it, or you need to plan it a little bit more. You could say, do you have experience in this? I'd like to plan this out. I'd like to map it out. So get that done. And then when finally someone comes through and checks your authority, you're going to come through as much more authoritative, much more emperor-like. Okay. In the near future, we have the 5 of Wands. This can represent one of the snags this month when it comes to momentum or progress. Let's look at the traditional card because I think it does a better job describing what's going on. So here's your traditional Five of Wands. We see a lot of people working hard, but are they making progress? Not really. They're competing against each other. They're trying to raise their voice over one another. Communication might fall short a little bit. Productivity isn't where it should be. Morale isn't where it needs to be. And from this, there needs to be a general step back. With Wands, the cool thing is you can subtract 1 or 2 and get to really good cards. 4 of Wands is partnership. 3 of Wands is manifestation. 2 of Wands, planning and dreaming. Ace of Wands, an idea. There's just too many cooks in the kitchen here. So I think pairing off, breaking off a little bit would be good, or having more concise and clear leadership. In your life, if there are things that are going on that feel like you are just there spinning your wheels, it might be time, like this archer, to decide to target your energy in a new direction. The card was reversed. So like I said, taking a step back from situations that take away your power will give that right back to you. So this is a chance to reclaim power, focus on what matters, and take with you the people, the ideas, the opportunities that are in alignment. We need to make sure that you're on the same page as other people, that the rules that they're playing by are the same as you. And if all of that aligns, I feel like you're going to have a productive month overall, okay? Now let's take a look at you, and we have with this a divine partnership. Because if you remember, we have the Swan, so we have the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. So this card was more about grace. This card is more about vision, because we have the Hawk, and I think about them being able to see and hear things very well. In your communication skills this month, and just in general, your listening is just as important as your talking, and sharing what's in your head, like painting a mental picture for people, is going to be just as important as barking an order or, giving feedback. Really let people know why it is that you feel or want or need to have something go in a certain direction. When I think about like the best movies or songs or stories out there, it is the narrative, it's the storytelling, it's the backdrop that pulls you in. So don't skip over that part, because if people can see it, if people can feel it, they're going to follow you wherever you go, okay? In the environment, we have the Four of Wands. Four of Wands represents a very solid friendship. This can also be love, marriage, contracts, and the celebratory piece there is, wow, I finally found someone or a group of people in my life that get what I'm trying to do. It's a firm foundation upon which better things can be built. Because it's in the environment, this could be a strategic partnership. And this could also be a new friend, a new even like mentor that comes in, and it feels like this is going to open up doors. This is going to help me get my feet on solid ground. Sometimes this card is just platonic. I'll find the traditional one while we're talking, but usually you see people in the background getting ready to get engaged or get married. So think about how you feel commitment-wise in activities that you have committed to. Think about friendships, relationships. What matters? What do you really want to take to the next level? Here's the traditional card. Again, we see two people getting ready to join together in marriage. But this is just foundational. And again, it's something where if you haven't had good luck before with any sort of partnership or friendship, everything's starting to shift now, and that portends good things. Okay, as we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the Emperor, and this card and the Catalyst are like hand in hand. So it's a chance for you to step into your power this month and into your divinity. As I said earlier, if you're looking for inspiration in others, the source energy came through and said, no, look from it. Look from an inner perspective. You have that within. And then the Green Man, which is a slightly different version of the Emperor, because we can see him here at his cauldron cooking up something amazing. It's saying, in this moment, own who you are, own what you want to do. The ownership, the passion, and the perspective that you bring is unique. It is what is going to take your idea and bring it to the next level. And you are kind of like a born leader this month with all of these wonderful people cards that keep coming through, like the Eight of Wands here and also the Four of Wands, okay? Let's go into the outcome here. We have a really beautiful Four of Pentacles in reverse. If we look at it in the upright position, we see a little fawn protecting itself. wanting to stay in a place where they're out of harm's way. And a more traditional version of the card shows someone holding that coin over their heart saying, maybe this is as good as it gets. At least, I call this like the devil you know. At least this is the devil I know. I know what the best and worst qualities are, but at the core, it's still limiting. So if you protect yourself by not allowing yourself to go out there and try new things, meet new people, experience something you've never experienced before, you stay trapped in that stone structure that we see here. This is a month to step out of your safety zone, your comfort zone, because risk is a part of growth. And if you calculate the risk and surround yourself with the beautiful partnership energy that we saw in the environment, it looks like you have good people in your environment, then I feel like you're going to be all right. It's just a matter of allowing yourself, again, to get out of that comfort zone. So we're going to briefly do a different version of the expanded forecast. I'm going to pull 4 cards, but I'm not going to drill into all 4 because we can normally see that on the weekly collective, and I'll make sure to put a link there. So you can watch a weekly update in real time with what's going on in health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'm going to give you a single card giving you one piece of advice no matter what phase of life you're in, okay? So a little bit more universal, and I think this is going to help the overall flow and make these more available, and I can get them done faster, which is good for all of us. So I'm just going ahead and pull all of the expanded forecasts right now. We'll do one for health, one for wealth, another for love, and then finally a destiny card. Okay, as promised, we're going to get started with your health card, which is mind, body, and spirit. So we have the High Priestess coming through, or just the Priestess in this deck. This is a card that reminds you of your power to heal yourself through thoughts, through meditation, through prayer. And in my own life, I've experienced this as well. When you believe that you can push through a health challenge, lo and behold, you can. If, however, you start to build up this sort of narrative that it's not going to happen, I'm not going to be able to do this, then your body may take longer to heal. It doesn't mean that it won't heal, but there are many ways to facilitate, enhance, sometimes even create the healing. And part of that is through meditation, working with healers too. And we can look at like Eastern applications here, like, for instance, acupuncture. We can look at massage therapy, Reiki, and also chiropractors. All sorts of ways to help move energy through the body, separate from surgery and medication. I believe it's a blended approach. It doesn't have to be an either or. You know, standard disclaimer applies here. I'm not a doctor, but that's what I'm getting is blend the approaches and enhance it through mind, body, spirit, because it's not just a physical body. It's also an energetic and a spiritual body too. So we'll pay attention to all of that. All right, a few high points here just to focus on, or highlights, I should say. As I mentioned before, it's really important to have quality and quantity of sleep with the Four of Swords. If you work yourself to exhaustion, you'll find that there are diminishing returns and it won't be worth it. Take care of your body before something else manifests because you're not doing that. The shaman and the priestess, the magician and the high priestess basically, are double emphasizing the importance of the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. You have to have some sort of way to connect to higher realms. It can't just be the 3D. If you're watching this, you know that. So basically make time to meditate or have fun or do something artistic. Avoid conflict. This could be in your community, your family, your work or school area. There's so many other people that are feeling similar to you that when you connect with them, you can avoid or you can transmute the conflict that we see here. And then really spend some time opening up your heart chakra, because when we look at the traditional Four of Pentacles, some of that pain, some of that energy can be held in the heart, and it can manifest as like high blood pressure. There could even just be this feeling of difficulty in breathing. So yoga, stretching, and meditating can help you regulate all of that. All right, let's move on to wealth, resources, life purpose, and career. We have a healing card coming through here. Mother Mary, miraculous encounter, divine experiences. Do not be afraid of being powerful. So we have so many divinity cards coming through. Remember what I said, you are the source. There could have been someone in the past that made you feel less than. Your catalyst comes through loud and clear and says, you're greater than or equal to. So let's shift the narrative there a little bit. And again, I'm not going to break it down into every category, but some high-level notes here. The power of people. You and the people around you can make a great impact together. You don't have to do this all on your own. One thing that I like is the divine partnership. I've got some of the traditional illustrations here. So we have Queen of Swords and King of Swords. This is crossing everything, and this is showing up as you. So you have the ability, with the help of someone else, to market and communicate in different directions. I love how they're looking in different directions. Make sure that you're encompassing and comprising all points of view, not just yours. Talk to someone else, get some external input. You'll be happy that you did. There are multiple cards here of power and empowerment. One of the things that might be difficult and interesting is that I said there are too many cooks in the kitchen. I think there's a lot of decision makers. So it's important for you to stand up and say what it is you believe and why you did it and show that you've done your homework. That's going to be the most important thing. People will want to see the sources, understand why you're coming to that point of view. No matter where you stand on the employment spectrum, making sure that you're getting adequate compensation is really important and that you're not taking on more than you need to take on. Four of Pentacles, fight for your equal share and for your seat at the table, because there's a lot of other people that will take first or take more. So if you need to get some support or some legal advice in that perspective, please do that. Once all that's managed, things start to move quickly. There's no time to waste doing things that you don't like or working with people that aren't a team player. So those things need to get sorted out earlier than later. And otherwise, I feel like things are pretty good. You may be coming back from a period where there was a lull. This is especially true for job seekers, but I do see a lot of movement this month in a positive direction. So lean into teamwork. Make sure that you keep your promises, especially because we're in a Mercury retrograde. Don't take on any more without adequate compensation, and use the teamwork or the team energy to make a change, because I saw that there might be someone that's not playing fair, and this is where together you can make that change happen, okay? Lots of creative energy also coming through, so trust in that. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. So in the energy of love and relationships, we have share your bounty. So for many of you, you might be at a point where literally you have more time and energy to spend and you just want to maybe do some volunteer work. Great way to meet new people, by the way. I've done that at many points in my life. You might also just be wanting to partner up with somebody a little bit more if you're single and looking. So this is a great time for that to happen. So this is the one category because there's only three where I think I can break it down. So briefly looking at those who are currently partnered, here's what I'm picking up on. If you're currently in a partnership, I say this many times, relationships require work, but they're not a job. So make sure that both parties are open. The Four of Pentacles represents someone that's holding back because of fear of judgment. Make it a safe space to talk. I do get commitment energy here in the environment, and it feels like one or both of you might either want a big family or you're from a big family, so talk about familial goals. But can you work through this? Yes. You just have to create the safe space, and some people take time to trust you. So just make sure that you show them that this is a safe space to have the conversation and the connection. Otherwise, nothing really problematic here. If you are single and looking for love, can you find it? You can find it through community activities. So volunteer work, church, school, work, and things of that nature. What kind of energy are we pulling in? King of Swords. And it's a divine partnership here. So it could be an Aries, a Gemini, or a Libra. And I'm not getting anything really problematic with this. The only thing that I see is your schedule is a little bit tight. Your resources are a little bit tight. So you need to make sure that you create enough space for this to grow. If you are single and happy, fantastic. You can really focus on breathing life into something and bringing it to the next level. Also getting a better handle on your money, your time, your energy, your resources. That's the one area that needs some healing. I feel like you could also lean a little bit more into entrepreneurial opportunities if that's something that you're interested in. All right, this one's pretty on the nose. As we look at destiny, we have the silence in reverse, which of course would represent speaking up. It's like, I feel like many of you are at a point where enough is enough. You're tired of people telling you to be quiet, or this isn't the right time to have the conversation, or their silence is deafening. Because the way that the vision came through is I saw 2 or 3 people in a room of like 30 speaking up. Everybody felt what they were saying, but only those 3 people spoke up. And I looked as no one else did anything. So if you're in a room where everyone is silent, silence is being complicit. So it's not necessarily that they agree, but they're supporting something that doesn't work. So especially in a work environment, this is something it just leads to bad, toxic sort of energy. So use your voice, use it wisely, pick your moment, and use it as a tool. So we got both of these cards coming through. I really love how the Queen of Swords carefully uses the sword, and she's kind of helping the energy come forth from it. Words are tools, and they are powerful. They can either lift people up or cut them down. Be the kind of person that lifts people up. But you can cut through the nonsense of someone that's trying to use double talk and nonsense. So really pick your moment, and you can communicate and attract amazing opportunities this month as well, because these are the 2 placements of the King and Queen. She's touching all 3 cards at the center. So when it comes to your instincts and your intuition, speak up. When it comes to group activities and group energy, speak up. When it comes to conflict, pick and choose that wisely, but also speak up. And then ultimately that attracts other people of the same sort of energy. The biggest challenge for you, Pisces, is worth. Feeling worthy, fighting for your worth. And once you do that, things start to open up. And this is one of the reasons people don't want us to talk about things like money or whatever challenges we're in, because silence allows that stuff to persist. So we're no longer going to be silent about things that are wrong, that we don't agree with, or that just don't gel. You can say no, you can ask questions, or you can choose to move in a new direction, all right? Now is your chance to ask one final question. It can be anything that you still need some insight on. Go ahead, take a moment, ask that. We'll see what Spirit has to say. We have the Queen of Cups in the reverse position. If you asked a yes or no, it's a not yet, but it's not a hard, like, no. The reason is we want the Queen of Cups to be in the upright position so that she can receive. Something's blocking the reception, and that can be heavy emotions. It could be this feeling that you're going against the flow, like it's taking so much work as we watch the salmon go upstream to spawn. It may be worth it like this. Sometimes you have to fight, but if you're always pushing, in work, in love, in friendship, it's not worth it. So make sure that it's 50-50 and that the payoff is there. You are worth so much more than you may have in front of you and that you may even imagine. I really would love for you, Pisces, to feel that worth. And we have something very Piscean here with the Queen of Cups. So I just want you to feel like you've got this, okay? This is also a moment where you can let go of some of the stuff, some of the pain, some of the discomfort, some of the frustration. Maybe working with a friend or a colleague or a mentor or a counselor, someone who can take that load off your shoulders. Okay? All right, everybody, that brings this reading to a close. If you enjoyed what you saw here, and I hope you did, please remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what resonated the most. I'm going to provide a bunch of links in the next couple of slides. Everything that I'm showing you, you can find the official links on my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. That's linked on my main YouTube channel page. So here we go. First of all, if you would like to continue the conversation with me, you can do so by booking a reading on my website. There's a booking button there. That's the direct booking link as well, which is nicholasashbaugh.com/private readings. You can also, if you'd like to join me on other social media platforms, it's my full name on all of those platforms, and you can see them here, the newest being Substack. It's good to follow me on one alternate one besides here on YouTube, just so that you can get a news notification in case Google flakes out, which it does from time to time. Let's see what else. You can also give back through PayPal if you'd prefer not to do it here on YouTube. If you want to stay here in the YouTube ecosystem, you can use a super sticker, super chat, or a membership. All of those go towards allowing me to do what you see here. So thank you so much. From my heart to yours, you're the best part of what I do here on YouTube. You have so many choices. I'm so pleased and honored that you chose to spend a little bit of time with me. I think Apollo is behind us, so we're going to end with giving him a little bit of love, and then we'll wrap up. Hey, buddy. Are you a good boy? Aw, you're sound asleep, aren't you? I'll let you be, baby. All right, folks. Take care. Have a fantastic month ahead, and I'll see you soon.